And when it comes to relationships, what you see is what you get.
Okay, so past couple of weeks we spent some time talking about what Jesus considers the greatest commandment, which is what? Love. Ooh, love. It's February. It's love. You know, do you have someone to love? I hope so. Love the Lord your God with what? There's one more. And your mind. And the second is like it, which is what? Love your neighbor as yourself. So the first week we talked about this whole concept of loving God and how that's sometimes easy, sometimes not so easy because we can't see God. So sometimes it's hard to love something we can't see, right? And last week we talked about probably one of the most challenging ones, which is you can't love God until you love yourself. Right? And so this week we're going to talk about the second commandment, loving others. And this one can be a tricky one. We're going to pray before we start, okay? So God, thank you for giving us two simple but very difficult commandments for us to follow. Help us, Lord, to take it one step at a time. If we're not doing this at all, Lord, help us to do something. So, God, I pray that you would clear away the distractions. And I pray that you would put into our heads exactly what you want us to get out of this. Take me out of the way so that only you show. In Jesus' name, amen. So, it's kind of tricky. But it may be hard to love. It may be hard to love God, like I said, because we don't know him like we should sometimes. Because God, who is God? Is God Buddha? Is God Muhammad? Is God? I mean, there's all kinds of lowercase jihads, right? But there's really only one capital. Yeah. There's a point to that. I am OCD, and you'll find out. Yes. Yeah, it now has a black ring around it. Anyway, yes. But you'll when Jesus tells us to love other people, it creates a bit of a problem. Do you know the problem I'm referring to? It gets even more complicated, though, because it isn't like people in our lives are just divided into two groups. People we like, people we don't like, right? It's way more complicated than that. Take Facebook, for example. I have a certain criteria to accept people as my friend. It's not a big criteria. It's if I have heard of you, then I'll accept you as my friend. Not a real big depth of relationship there. Aubrey, on the other hand, like for some of her social media friends, she's a little bit pickier, aren't you? It's actually she has a closed social media. You have to request friendship, and she has to look at your application, and there's a big process that you have to go through. And then after you jump through the appropriate hoops, then you become her friend. Mine is way more dangerous and way more simple. If I know you, you're my friend once I get on Facebook. I don't get on it very often. But that type of friendship means absolutely nothing. I have 6, 7, 8, I don't even remember how many friends. But out of those, I probably talk to maybe 2 or 3 of them. Maybe. But they're called my friends, right? And if any of my Facebook friends posted something like, moving tomorrow, I kind of need help, probably not going to help. Most of my Facebook friends are Illinois, Kentucky, Kansas City. I'm not going to fly out just to help them move. I don't even know if I would help Mike. And I mean, we're close. So then you have, I'm ignoring your comment. I don't know what you said, but, you know, if I had a spare eraser, it would go your way. Then you have your casual friends. Okay? Those are your teammates on your sports teams. Those are maybe your friends on a worship team. Some of those might spill over into the next category. But that kind of friend, if they drop their books in the hall, you would probably help them pick it up. But if they switched classes or you got hurt and wasn't on the team anymore, you probably wouldn't really hang out with them anymore. Do you have friends like that? More than likely. Sometimes you've had friends at lunchtime because you're in the same lunch hour, and then for some reason, Mile High switches, and then you have a whole different set of friends because you had to switch hours, and now you have to. And now those friends that you sat with before, it's a little bit more convenient to be their friend, and it takes a little bit more effort. That's what I would call casual friends. Then you have the people that you really connect with. You know exactly who I'm talking about. You probably got an image of somebody in your mind of your best of the best of the best friend. And that's the kind of person who you tell everything to. Guys, these are, Michael, come here. These are the other guys you're willing, come here quick, to give a hug to. Okay, here's the example. Guys, and it's not that kind of hug. It's the bro hug, okay? It's the handshake, 2 pats on the back, you extend, shh. It's that kind. Girls on the other hand, come here, Michael. You can be a girl. Girls, lift your leg. No, not that way. It's the lifting. I don't have any idea. I'm kidding. No, I'll get to girls in a minute. But it's that little handshake with a couple pats. Have you seen that? Hey, shh. Have you seen that in guys? Yeah, in guys, I mean, they don't want to go full-on hug because that's not cool. But the handshake that turns into kind of a hug with that barrier of the hands in between, that's okay. That's cool. Girls, I'm getting to you next. Girls, these are the friends. You can't even make it through a date without texting them how things are going. You can't make it through a movie, I mean, if you chose to go with someone else, without texting that other friend, like, oh my gosh, he held my hand. Oh, and you have to go to the bathroom so that you can do that because no texting during movies, right? Yes, no texting during movies. But you can't go a day without the communication with that friend. Yes? I'm just curious to see if anyone has ever I don't know. Mate, I've done that. There you go. Zach has done it. So, but these are the kinds of people that you would do anything for. These are the kinds of people that guys would get up in the middle of the night and stop playing their Call of Duty just to have a conversation with you. And that might not be junior high, that might not be high school, but that's more into old peoplehood, adulthood. Yes. Yes. But this kind of seems harmless enough. We see the world and the people in the world like they exist in concentric circles. What do I mean? Where's my marker? Thank you. Okay. Here's the concentric circles that I did perfectly. All right. No, this is you, okay? And here's how a lot of us see our relationships. Let's go friend one, because there's no delineation between friend one and friend two, right? So they're all friends. They're all good, close friends. Friend one. And here's how you see it a lot of times. Your friends I know this isn't going to be perfect, but it's going to... You can... That one, there's no such thing as that friend. Okay, so basically what this is showing is your friends revolve around you. Everything that you do, they need to know about. And your friendships all of your friendships revolve solely around you. It's about you. They relate to you. It's about how they treat you. It's about what they can do for you. Or I should probably say us instead of you, because I do this too. Because it's on my time schedule. It's on my whenever I'm ready to have a conversation with them. So you know what? This person just moved away, and they're no longer your friend. So for the sake of, yeah, that was the planet Uranus. Okay, so I just like to say that word. So, which makes Jesus' command even a little trickier to actually live out. Because what's the command again? The second part? Yes, love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus really didn't say, love your best friend as you love yourself, right? If he had, that would be way easier. He said, love your neighbor as yourself. And I think it sounds a little confusing because who is our neighbor? And I know at church, here's what you're supposed to say. Aubrey, who's our neighbor? No, I'm saying we've talked about this, and what we've come up with is the right answer, but who is our neighbor? Everyone. We've talked about that. That's the only reason why I picked on you, Aubrey. Yes, Garrison's our neighbor, but really, neighbor is anyone. But really, is that really what that means? So if you're a little confused, I think in Jesus' day, when he was talking about this, I think they were confused too. So he did what he does best. Do you know what he does best? He told a story. And he didn't just spell it out. He created characters, drama, conflict, and uncertainty. And then he let the listeners draw their conclusion for themselves. Here's what he said. Here's the story. You've heard the story before, but hear it again. Okay? This is a story Jesus told. In reply, Jesus said in Luke 10, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho. Are you familiar with this story? Anyone? Yes. When he fell into the hands of robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came to where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. I guess they had a little drink, but no, they fixed him up. Then he put the man on his own donkey, took him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expenses you may have. That would be like if he decided he wanted to watch an HBO movie and get a little pay-per-view. The guy said, I'll pay for that. I'll pay for whatever, anything in the little mini fridge. I'll pay for whatever extra charges that he has. So if you've been around that crowd that day, you'd have felt probably a little bit awkward. Probably, what are you talking about? Right? Like, what is the point of all this? Because there's a sentence that he says at the very end that I'll get to in a minute. But just a few definitions. The priest in this story, super religious. He was the holy, he was the top of the chain. That's who the priest was. And what did he do? He just walked right. He saw the guy and decided, I don't have time. I'm supposed to be counseling someone. I've got a meeting. I can't do this. That's probably what he was thinking. And he took off. The guy was hurt. He was dying. The Levite, he's one of part of one of the 12 tribes of people that make up the Jewish nation. He's a pretty important guy. Levites were responsible for unique religious duties. And among the Jewish people, the Samaritans, we've talked about them a lot. Samaritans were considered half-breeds. They were nobodies. Some people even called them dogs, like not in a good way. Like they were really the lowest of the low. But in Jesus' story, this is the guy who got it right. This is the guy who didn't think of himself, because I'm sure he probably had other things to do too. The priest and the Levite didn't get it. It was the Samaritan that took him and put him on his own donkey and took him to a hotel. He cleaned them all up. He went the extra mile. Did the Samaritan know this guy? Not at all. He didn't know him. He was a Jewish guy. He was a Jewish man, boy, child, whatever. But he didn't see the victim as an inconvenience. I think we do that sometimes. I think we see people as just a distraction of time, because I have to get over to my friend's house, my best friend's house, to do this, and I just don't have time. So the Samaritan helped. And Jesus is trying to help us change the way we see other people. He doesn't want us to ask, who is my neighbor, and therefore who do I have to love? Because I've asked that and I've been asking the wrong question. Who is my neighbor, therefore who do I have to love? That's the wrong question to ask. He wants us to ask, who is my neighbor, and therefore who needs my love? Who can I share my love with? Who can I share? And this isn't a relationship like boyfriend-girlfriend kind of a love. This is an agape kind of a love, an unconditional love. This guy spent 2 silver coins, which was the equivalent of 2 days' pay. Okay? So what's minimum wage? Sean? $8.05. Let's say you work 8 hours a day. Okay, let's round it down for math's sake. $8 times 8 hours, about $64, right? So basically, he paid for his hotel room for 2 days, paid for any extra stuff. So 128 bucks. Today that would be a lot more. And he didn't expect that back. This Samaritan, this dog, this nobody. So who is my neighbor, and therefore who needs my love? If we waste time trying to determine who fits the definition of neighbor, then we completely miss the point of this whole story. After telling the story of the unlikely neighbor, here's what Jesus said. He said to all the people that were gathered around, that were hanging on his every word, and he said, go and don't ever come back. Did he say that? No, he said, go. And the person that farted, I will find out and I will get you. He didn't say that. He said, go and do likewise. Go and do the same thing this guy did. Jesus knows that we're tempted to be more like the first group of people passing by, the priests and the Levites. He knows that that's our inclination. That's who we are. Would you classify yourself as a selfish person? Yes? I'm, man, it's about me. Jamie, would you agree with that? It's about me. Yes. For the sake of this illustration, just say, thank you. Selfish pig that I am. So, yes. See, that was selfish of me to say that. What was your answer? I mean, we've been married 21 years. I should let her talk. I mean, this is the first time I've let her talk. And don't start now. Okay. All right. So he's calling us out not to make us feel bad, but he's trying to clarify some stuff. Love your neighbor as yourself. What what does that actually mean? Who's out there that I can love? Who's out there that needs my help? And we're not talking about money. We're talking about your time, your attention, your resources. What's unique about you that you can do for someone else? And we're not talking about your best friend, because that's easy. That's easy to do stuff for your best friend. I'm talking about the casual friends and even the people you wouldn't consider your friends. Going that extra mile to do unto others the way you'd want them to do it to you. So when you start to see life, when you start to see people in light of the story of the Good Samaritan, this gets flipped. Okay? It gets flipped. It's your friends right here, and you're on the outside. It's not revolving around you anymore. You're doing your best. You're doing likewise. Yeah.
So with that message in mind, like you just said, would you still fly out to like Illinois and Kentucky to help your friends?
It depends on money, because there's probably people around here that need help just as much as I would do that for a really, really close friend. I would fly out, but with money, when it's tight, there's things that you want to do, but you really can't do, right? But there's things around here that we can do as a group, and there's things that you can do as an individual. So, what if you started seeing the people around you as full of potential and possibility and not inconveniences or interruptions? You ever seen people as an interruption? You're doing something and, oh crap, here they come again. What if we stop seeing them as that? What if God is putting them in your path at that moment for a specific purpose? Could that be? Could it be that God has put you in certain people's lives for a specific purpose? Maybe to encourage them. Maybe to just listen to them. Maybe they have a lot more problems than you could ever dream of. Maybe they don't have that many problems and you're the one with the problem. And you have family problems. Your parents are getting a divorce. You don't know where you're going to go to school next year. There's so many question marks. And this person knows that. But yet you're spending time with them listening to their little problem to you. But for them, it's a huge problem. What would that do in their life if that's what you did for them? Just encourage them a little bit. I think it would be big. So, how about instead of noticing that your friend is tweeting about their bad day, what if you called them instead of just noticing? Just call them. And no.
Like typing.
No, actually call them. Yeah, I saw that you were having a bad day. You want to talk about it? And maybe they don't. Maybe that's the end of that conversation, because maybe they'll say, no, I don't really want to talk about it right now. Okay, that's fine. Just know that you can call me anytime if you ever need to talk. And that's the end of it. But you put a little seed in the back of their head. Not a literal seed, but you put a seed in the back of their head. Like, maybe I do have someone I can call or talk to. Maybe you know someone whose dad just lost his job. How about you offering to give them money to go to a movie just to take their mind off of their home life? Maybe you take them yourself. How about be kind just for the sake of being kind? How about that? Can you do that? My goal for all of last year, and it's still my goal for this year, for this group, is to be the friendliest group in town. Friendliest youth group in town. I don't know how we're doing, because I don't know how I'm doing. I think I'm failing more than I'm succeeding. Are you giving me the thumbs up like, yes, you're failing, Maria? Okay. But I hope that people see us and see that maybe we are that group that takes that extra step. Not all of us, because all of us are in different spots in our lives, but maybe we should begin loving by taking a first step. And it's a good kind of loving. It's the fact that your friends don't revolve around you, but you start asking, what can I do? So here's the challenge before you go to small group. I want you, before you go, I want you to take one of these. And this is a 7 deeds in 7 days. Okay? I would hope that you would do 7 deeds in 7 days, but if you don't do anything ever, and you do 1 deed this whole week, that's 1 more deed than you've ever done. Okay? And they're things, just thoughtful deeds that you do at home. And your chores and the tasks that you're already responsible for, they do not count for this. Okay? Things such as put away groceries. When whoever does the grocery shopping comes home and they bring it in, offer to put it away. Don't offer, just do it. Just put it away. Help them get it from the car to the house. Hold on. How about do a load of laundry, wash, dry, and fold? How about that? If that's not normally in your task of to-do list things, that would be something great. As long as you know how to wash clothes, okay? Maybe you need to ask for help first. Yes. So, anyway, I want you to pick one of these up, everyone, before you go to small group. A little kindness will go a long way for people you don't know, but it'll also go a long way for people that you do know. And we didn't even get into the whole enemy thing. People that you really don't like. Jesus is actually telling us to take a step closer to that too. And this is so important that you get this right. Because there's only 2 of them, right? Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and spirit. Strength, spirit, mind, soul, oikos. And then love your neighbor as yourself. That's it. That's all we have to do. What? Oh, okay. That's all we have to do. Those 2 things. If we decide that, okay, those are too hard, we can defer back to the Old Testament. And all of those, you don't want to go there. 2 are much easier than 2,000. Thank you for the challenge that this is going to be. To do kind things, which seems easy, but it's really not. God, help us to get out of our selfish selves, to be kind to other people, to look out for other people's interests, and not just our own. So God, I pray that half of this group or more would take this challenge and run with it. And I get phone calls and emails and texts from parents going, what did you do to my child? Because they're doing things around the house. God, that would be so awesome to hear good stories about my friends. So God, help us to take that next step in Jesus' name.